It is now 6 o'clock, and the August 21st session of the Bell River Historical Preservation Commission will be in session. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have an adoption of the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried unanimous. Okay. Approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Corrections or changes, or?
I read them over earlier today, and everything looks in order.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have no public comment.
We have the public in front of
We
us.
have-
You have plenty of comments just to yourself. Thank you.
Reports of officers. Kim, you want
I'm sorry.
to tell us about the
Yes.
plaques?
I'm working on a personal letter to the public on the last few that's on that list, kind of a friendly, folksy letter. I asked Tracy to pull some information for me regarding the plaque program, the application, and other information so that I can present a completed plaque program information. I'm not sure how many of y'all had ever seen these in person. If you wanted to touch it, look at it, see what it felt like. I never had, put hands on one, so I wanted to see it. And I think these are fabulous. I'd like to see them on all historic houses.
Yeah, it is nice. Will you also be able to write a letter to the people for whom we already have those plaques?
Yeah, sure.
And we could invite them to all come.
Sure.
And hand them out.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. How many plaques approximately do we have out? Do you have any idea, Tracy? It's on that list. I don't have
I
it
know,
with
and
me.
I didn't bring it with me because I have my new book now instead of the old one, but it's on
Okay.
that list, so.
Yeah, I was thinking it was the meeting before last, it was on the agenda, or part of the agenda. So we have the information, I just, off the top of my
I
head.
think, didn't you, there were probably at least 4 or 5 that you had in that?
There's 4 or
There's
5
5
left,
5 left, okay.
and if I remember, there were about 50, maybe 60 that have been placed.
So what we need to do is to present the ones that we do have
Mm-hmm,
and get the PR for that,
mm-hmm.
so that the others then who are eligible will take notice. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Comprehensive plan update, I'm sorry, Denise?
Good evening, Lenise Lyons, Planning and Zoning Specialist. As you know, all may know, we had our open house about a week and a half ago. We had a pretty good turnout. We went from 12 to 7 at the library. So at this point, we took the comments from that, plus the other comments from the steering committee, and the land use charrette and everything like that, and the city council has seen a draft of the future development map, and what the future development map is going to do is replace our future land use map, and really introduce more character areas for development rather than kind of the future land use, which was kind of locks into a few land uses. This way, with character areas, you can look at more mixed uses, commercial mixed in with residential, We have a suburban village, we have industrial corridor and commercial corridors, but we have our traditional neighborhoods, we have our suburban villages. We're places that we want to encourage some mix of uses. The downtown has its own area, commercial corridors. So we are now in the stage where we are preparing to transmit this to the Department of Community Affairs. All of the documents that will go before them, that will be sent to them, are available online. They did update the they added historic and cultural resources as part of the update. This is only a couple of pages long, but there are some new goals and strategies I think that might have been included in the document itself, that if you guys want to check it out, I can send you links to all of this so you can check it out. And any comments, any feedback, you can send it to me, and we'll make sure we get that recorded and added into the record and incorporated. This one includes the inset map from the historic inventory assessment that was done in 2010. It shows, the areas that of the assessment and that are recommended that we at some point adopt or designate as local districts. And so this goes almost all the way up 101 to and on down past downtown. Covers a lot of area. But this is I think they got it, they did it pretty right. I think they got it pretty right when they did that 2010 assessment. There may be some more structures now at this point, as we're 8 years later, that might, also qualify at some point if that's something that we want to pursue, working with that group again to do another assessment like that, to update our inventory. It's certainly something we can look into. But that's about it. The city council will kind of do a vote on it on the 4th to basically authorize the transmittal by the mayor for it to go ahead to go to DCA for the review. The Three Rivers Commission is going to handle the review. I think they need about 60 days. We have to be done by the 31st. So after they're done, we'll take it to Planning Commission and then go back to council for final adoption. Master Trails will be included in that. We have a new short-term work program that's got some more projects on there. Some of the old projects that are going to carry over. I know in particular one that kind of stood out was the Conley Marchman. That's an old short-term work program project that says the city wants to work to acquire that land and get that designated to save that structure. I'm not sure what's happened from then till now, but it looks like we do have support from the city that's just something that as best as we can we want to try to make happen. We got to cut through a lot of the church owns the property that it's on, so navigating that it'll be a lot of fun. We'll go on an adventure together.
I have a bit of insight on the Conley Marchman House when you're through this here.
Okay. Well, that was all. You guys have any questions about anything comp plan? I'm glad this is almost over. It's a task. It's a lot of work, and I've done comp plans from beginning to end, like an 18-month process, and they're just as involved. But this is a more compacted period of time. So when things start to run together, you gotta. I'm going through the actual document now and making sure they got everything right. So. But that's where we are.
Okay.
All right.
Brenda, do you want to ask her about the building? Maybe she can answer your question about new buildings in old places.
Oh, we were actually discussing before we started next to my home, for instance, there was a house that burned down and a new one was rebuilt in 2003. And it very much looks like it belongs in Mirror Lake.
Oh, okay.
It's very obvious it's not a historic home. What would be the process, or is there anything that we could do within a historic district to say you can only build within this average time frame a So you can't put a house in a historic district next to an 1886 house that looks like a 2003 house.
And that's what the local designation would do. Getting placed on the national register doesn't really do a lot as far as requiring anything to look like anything. It really, the national register and the state register, y'all learned all this. It really just opens you up to assistance, some tax credits, things like that. Getting it adopted on the local register, the district or property, that would be the way that you can say that these are our residential guidelines. It has, whatever was there, you have to put it back, or
Okay.
something similar, or it has to come before the Historic Preservation Commission for approval
Okay.
prior to the issuance of any building permits. But unless you get the property designated or an area designated, that's going to happen a lot. That's all of East Atlanta now.
Yeah.
Took out those old Cabbage Town. Got in quickly and kind of mobilized to protect some of those like bungalows and all that. But
Right.
in neighborhoods that aren't as organized, where there's the will is more renters than owners, hard to find the owner. If you have a neighborhood that's something that they want to pursue, I think by your bylaws or by the ordinance, a neighborhood, a historical society, anybody can nominate it to go on the register, on our local register, and then we have to go through the series of public meetings, and it has to be approved by city council after you all do your review.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, if when we get the different districts completed and official, if a home burns down and they're going to rebuild a new structure, it would have to be
In character.
in character. Okay, that was my question. I just wanted to make sure that was something that we could put in those bylaws and in that ordinance.
Right, and in the ordinance, you can speak to that as to what the structure, what kind of some guidelines of what the style of houses that are prominent on that block, the setbacks that are prominent on that block,
Okay.
other design features, accents, windows,
Right.
things like dormers, columns, all that good stuff.
Okay.
It just depends on how in depth you want to get, because some ordinances are super in depth. They even go into interior stuff.
So when we have our open meeting and we start to increase the boundaries that we want for the historical district, then when we're doing our new guidebook, we would put those things in the body?
Once you get the local designations established, then you create a new set of architectural standards that
Okay.
fits that district. And when a house burns and they have to want to build back, this is what you got to go by.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? All right. New business.
I would like to address the Connolly Marchman House, small information. When I was still acting president for the Historical Society, Villa Rica Area Historical Society, I had to get that out right, I had stopped and talked with the pastor on more than one occasion. They are willing to restore the house with assistance, but they do have some preference on what it's used for. They don't want to give up ownership of it. That's going to be the sticking point, I believe, with the city being involved. Now, the Historical Society has no limitations. They can pretty much choose any area that they want, but the commission has visited this structure on more than one occasion, and all efforts were rebuffed. So if they wanted to give up ownership of the property, then that might be a possibility, but I don't think that that's going to occur.
Do you know if in those discussions, I believe the woman was from the city of Jefferson, where she talked about people donating properties for a tax credit? Do you know if that was discussed during that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. they are a church, so they're non-taxable to
Oh,
start with.
that's true.
So that's kind of,
A moot point.
Is that what your understanding is too, that they're having that problem? Thank you. Okay.
Well, they're willing to have it placed on the local register,
Mm-hmm.
because if you all start nominating properties,
for,
best case scenario is that you have property owner consent. I know there's cases where it still can go on a register without property owner consent, but that just makes a very contentious situation. You're
Oh,
willing for it to go on there, they can't touch it unless they come to you all, right? So even though they might not want to give up ownership, they can't tear it down without coming before you all. They can't make any alterations to it without coming to you all. And maybe you get entered into some kind of shared agreement about the use of the space, but their property, I wouldn't want to give it up either if it was mine. You know what I mean? So
but they're accomplishing demolition by neglect.
and it's my
But if-
understanding they did some renovation in the past without coming to historical preservation, and that I was told that the initial columns on the house are no longer in existence. That when they tried to, the people who were volunteering from the church at the time to work on it, that they took the columns from the porch that was around there and put those on the front to be the columns, so that some of the changes that were made with some of the stuff that was already there, but they just went ahead and did it as volunteers from the church to make it look better.
well, I mean, it wouldn't come to you guys because it's not on the register. So at this point, they can do whatever they
You
want
gotta
to.
get it placed on the
You
register.
gotta get it on the register before you can say
Pardon?
anything about what happened.
You have to get it placed on the local register
I know.
before it comes under y'all's purview.
Okay.
Okay.
We will do
Even if
that.
it's not within a district at this moment, as long as it's on the register.
Well, to expand the business district, you only gotta expand it like,
Well, you
A very-
you can do properties
Yeah,
or
you
you
can
can
do
do an
individual.
area.
Yeah.
You don't have to chart out a if you have a property that fits that criteria, and it might even be in that assessment, that
Right.
the inventory that we have, you can nominate a property, a single property.
Okay.
So we can do that, okay. Because I think that West Side Church, that was the original hospital, I think that is designated, isn't it, on our local? I know that I remember seeing it somewhere on our site.
check on that.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
It's not the one on Spring Street and, yeah.
One that you showed us that day.
Right, right.
I know there's some that are considered, First United Methodist of Villa Rica, First Presbyterian Church of Villa Rica, and Mount Prospect are considered historic, but I don't know, they're not on our register.
I believe the Presbyterian has a plaque like this. I'm
Creflos
not-
Church,
No, not the Methodist one.
Creflos Church does have.
Does
a
have
plaque.
one?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm fairly certain that the Presbyterian does as well.
It should.
Plaque
It's,
doesn't-
It's not,
The
not
plaque doesn't
designated.
designate it as being
Okay.
historic.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think there is a plaque for that West Side Baptist as well, but not as a church. So, okay.
So,
We need to update, try to work toward updating our local designations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to work on.
Okay.
if we can, I would say, if you do a list of priority properties, we can figure out the best way to navigate getting those on, and that,
Dr. Mims has got a pretty good list.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if we save sites and then maybe move long-term into,
districts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, I think we kind of just want to pick some low-hanging fruit and get some momentum.
Yeah.
So if you want to start, I mean, it's up to you guys how you would like to start. If you know people to reach out to that, support the application, especially property owners.
When we have our work thing, you want to speak to what you said you would do the map for, the bigger map?
Yeah, and I've got another idea that I wanted to talk to y'all about. Paul Gerald is the Three Rivers Regional Commission's expert.
Right.
I want to get him to that work session.
I will be seeing him next Tuesday because I'm going to that three-word.
We want to plan on that because I want somebody with his knowledge there to kind of
Okay.
help guide us along.
Yeah, it's from 10 to 12. I've already RSVP'd, so I'm going. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great idea to do that, to try to do it. So
Okay.
if you talk to him, ask him would he be available and try to get an idea of when,
Okay.
because we can set this thing up.
Yeah, I sent him an email asking him if I should bring some of the things to the meeting, but he didn't answer me back yet.
Well, Paul's kind of like everybody else. He's running over like 6 or 7 different counties, and he's running wild. So,
Okay.
but he's a great guy, and he's got a lot of information.
Okay.
But I'd really like to get him there.
So ask him to come, okay.
Meeting, yeah.
I can do that.
Nancy, how much advance notice do we need to have for a work session? Is it 3 newspapers or?
It would just meet the same, because you're not making decisions at a work session, right? So we would just have to post the agenda.
Yeah, and we would run it in the paper at least one time,
Okay.
with a reasonable amount of time ahead of the meeting.
So basically, it's taking a look at Powell Park and finding out what date is available, and then we'll just put it in the newspaper.
We can set this up, if we want to try to get Paul, then it's going to obviously rely on his schedule. But otherwise, within a 2-week period on these, am I wrong?
What, for
We can establish a meeting within a 2-week period.
15 days?
And 15 days is all we need.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys follow the same rules as.
Sunshine law stuff that goes with
And Denise, you said that probably more early on, like from 2 to 4 or something like that, or 2 to 6? You said not at night, but in the daytime for Powell Park?
Well, it'll be to y'all's discretion.
Right, I mean,
We could also use the library.
the library, but I know Powell Park, that's where the city councils had.
Powell Park would allow for more people to come. The library is kind of crowded. I mean, when we had our meetings,
Park's a good venue. We've
yeah.
budget meetings and work sessions up there.
They don't live stream.
Oh, downstairs in the library was good.
Yeah, they won't, we can't live stream from Howell Park.
Okay.
Do that. We can't from the library. We can't.
Okay, yeah, the downstairs room in the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll check on that tomorrow. All right. Any other new business?
Well, actually, you're mentioning demo by neglect reminded me of something that we heard about at the training where several of the cities had set up an ordinance for minimum maintenance, and the cities sent out notices for historic properties. Now, I don't remember if those were actually designated historic homes or if they were just homes within the district. Do you remember? I was looking through my notes and I can't find where, but the discussion came up when we were talking about the Marchman Connolly house. Okay.
It was one of the last 2 speakers, so with the email that Sarah sent us, with all of the seminars and everything, it's going to be on one of
I
those
haven't had time to
last
go over that.
2.
Okay.
I've been going through it slowly.
Okay.
That long acronym for, I can't figure that thing out. Looking at the surveys and stuff, that thing is so confusing.
Oh.
Well, any questions that you might have, send them to me, and then
Okay.
when I go to that session, we'll make sure that we've got,
So the question then is, can we set up, like the woman from City of Jefferson was talking about, and how do we go about setting up a minimum maintenance requirement? So what she was mentioning is that they had a home in the city that there was a hole in the roof, and it was within a historic district, and they sent them a notice and said, you have so many days to take care of this. And in their situation, it was as simple as you have to put a tarp over the roof. And if they failed to do it, there was fines upon fines upon fines, and then eventually the property became,
But the city code, the city's code
Right.
itself about decent, safe, and sanitary conditions apply to no matter what the property is, or where its location or designation, so long as the city within jurisdiction.
It's going to be a Georgia thing because it was put in place within the city of Jefferson.
Yes.
But I'll go back and look at those notes
one of the
again
last-
and see if I can find some specific information about that, and then I can email it out, what we find, and if somebody else finds it before I do, email it.
Do you have access to that email from Sarah?
I don't,
I'll be glad to forward it to you.
please.
It's got several PowerPoint, it basically has the entire date recorded.
Is that the email you sent me?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll do that then. I looked through a few of those things. I also have a contact at the city of Atlanta, that does their urban design commission, and they recently did a nomination of a old industrial site. They're gonna do something really cool with it. But I told them that we're trying to strengthen our program, and he's more than willing to help us out on any of that stuff. So I can, reach out to them as well to see, what is the course of action or something, because I think they have their own code officers and all kind of stuff, and they have 11 of you all,
Yeah.
11 commissioners.
Which is why we want to change our bylaws as well, because we discovered at the conference that we are one of the few with only 5. But most of them have 6, and a couple of them, like Jefferson, have 7. And so we want to add that sixth person to the commission here. So we're going to be, but we don't need the work session to do our bylaw change, correct?
Bylaws will have to be changed by city council.
Yeah. So we just have to rewrite that, just put in those, change the date and the fact that we want 6, which will then match the other part of it that's on the Georgia part. So as long as it's aligned with that guideline?
You can set your own meeting date. In fact, you're getting ready to do that in just a couple of minutes, so.
Okay. So we'll just write it up and then present it to city council.
Well, I don't think the meeting date, you're at liberty to set your own schedule to do that.
Right.
Because you don't have a choice because
Right.
your night's been taken.
Right.
So, but you need to go ahead and vote on that part, and we'll work on the bylaw change. I'll dig into that a little bit more, but it's something we can do.
That means then I need to have a motion that we accept the third Tuesday as our meeting date, starting in October.
A motion.
What time?
Well,
What possible conflict? What time?
6.
yeah,
It's going to be a conflict for me.
Well, unconflicted.
Pay my bills.
What? What?
okay.
The job that I'm about to undertake is Monday through Friday, 10 to 7. If you can't, decide on an alternate,
There isn't any other alternate date.
Right.
It's either the 1st or the 3rd, and zoning and planning is taking the 1st.
Tuesday, Thursdays.
Or if you want, the first or the third are your options.
Is the 1st an easier option for you? The first-
it's not the date itself, it's the day, the time frame. I may be able to adjust sometimes, but sometimes I may not be able to attend. Just letting you know. So first or third doesn't really matter to me.
What is your pleasure?
It doesn't, I have no preference.
My thinking about the 1st was because of the first Tuesday of the month follows the first Monday oftentimes. That's usually declared a holiday, which then becomes a problem for us moving it through to something else. And that probably, it would be easier for us to have it on the 3rd, so we didn't have to move it.
That's fine. I'm just letting you know, conflict.
Okay. Is this, you have a conflict of a new job on all Tuesdays, is that what I'm understanding?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. So even if you're at that we keep the date, which we can't, it's still gonna be conflict no matter what we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Well, it's not the date, it's the time.
Do you have a motion?
You don't need to discuss
Well,
the
is
time,
the-
discuss the time issue more, so.
That's what I'm wondering is if
I may
we
be able to
delay it
work
1
something
hour, I don't know how that, I mean, if we did it at 7, would that be better
Oh,
for
you just got the stinker.
Oh, I know, I'm sorry.
Maybe they've got to go home.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I make a motion that we change the meeting date to the third Tuesday of every month at 6 PM.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Okay.
Talk about
What I wanted everyone to do was to at least, on the record, be able to say what was the one thing that was memorable from the training. Kim?
I really liked and I can't even think of the name of it right off the top of my head, that acronym that was so very strange that it says it produced information about surveys that had been done on the houses and the properties and sites and everything, but I'm just unable to get it to work. I can't really grasp the information in what manner they're producing it, but if I can ever figure it out, it looks like it's going to be something very good, because there's so many surveys that have been completed. It's about the third highlighted URL down on that email. It's a very strange looking acronym, and I probably have a note.
It's just a jumble of letters.
It is. Yeah.
Yes, but it's like, no, it's
No,
not
it has
pronounced.
no pronunciation.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
I sent I sent you all copies of that. So they've got it. Okay. Renee?
Well, the training was absolutely amazing. I learned so much, but one of the things that I would like to also see us do, in addition to all the other list that we have of stuff to do, was, I loved the idea that one of the cities had, and actually I think several different people from different cities spoke up on it and said, hey, yeah, we do that, but they work with local realtors and putting in a copy of the guidelines if their home is designated historic, or if it's within a district, or even businesses, and they present them a guideline, they present them a welcome basket, and there were several other things that they did. One of the cities, I think, said that they put like a book, like a pamphlet type book for historic preservation in that basket for new homeowners, and just as his HPC commissioners, they went and met with them, some of them. So I thought that was a great thing to really get people on board with historic preservation and excited about it. So
Something similar to the little brochures that we found that you do have in all the other cities.
Two women.
Our own little brochure that we,
Kind of like a packet that we prepare for all new businesses out of my office.
yeah.
It's just a smattering of stuff about Little Ricka and,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Main Street program.
That even could be one of our big projects for May, too, to make sure that we've got everything done, but then when we partner with them. Okay.
Going to a present-day meeting to get an old surprise. When I got home, I found out that I'd gone to an event that was already paid for. And I came home with a bill. Didn't know, did you? Yes, I had someone else's bill from our contingency, and when I called the inn to find out what was going on from the proprietor, I was said, well, you were there, we need to get somebody to pay for this. So welcome to the electronic age in talking about, here we are at an old historic group. And the lesson to be learned is the electronic mail instead of the Pony Express. For the record, I got Mr. No-Show's room charge for not showing, and it was on my credit card, and I got it squared away today.
He was paid for
Yeah, but if you don't show up to present the check, guess what?
Oh, his check never arrived.
That's right, because he had it
His
at
room
home.
was not canceled in time.
That's right.
They got paid for it.
Yeah, we never heard
Did
from
y'all
him.
have any idea he wasn't gonna come?
We sent all kinds.
Well, he hasn't been at how many meetings now, so.
Heard back from him.
I know him.
This is the fourth
And
one.
I sent
he
emails to
hasn't-
him as well
Yep.
and everything. I even asked them to please let Tracy know by
And
Wednesday.
we all had a refund charge as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
So anyway, this morning, Sarah and I settled it, and I said, whichever way works out, I'll pay it, you pay me, or you pay it and get it off. And I said, doesn't matter, I don't care. Oh, no.
and we all got a $25 rebate, so I wrote a check and gave it to Tracy, made out to the city of
Well,
Billerica
that-
for the $25 rebate.
Oh, they said they were gonna send it via mail.
Yeah.
So I just took the receipt up and I don't know what went on there.
My favorite thing from this training,
It was the food.
I don't want to say that I'm cheap, but I like the idea that Three Rivers has free stuff on the state of Georgia, that we can have all this free help and free surveys and free. And I'm thinking, you better believe it, because I can be the queen of getting free stuff. We're going to get free help. And so, because you all are overworked, so we're going to have as much free help as we can possibly get. So that was my happy thing there.
I did
I
want to
guess-
say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, the one last unfortunate, I guess, under new business is because we do have a commissioner that is the third time no-show. I'm going under the assumption that it is my job to send him an email and then notify the city council.
Just declare
Your bylaws say
first position open.
a member who fails to fulfill their duties and has 3 consecutive absences without written notice from regular HBC meetings may be recommended to the city council for removal by the HBC, by a vote of the HBC. You can vote to remove them, and then if you do that tonight, we'll work on, you have people that you think would like to join you all up here, you know, we can certainly, you can get them, give us their information and get them to do the application. We can go ahead and submit those to city council to have someone replace them. So,
Okay,
but that's up to y'all. We can do that this
Yeah,
month.
you'll need to vote.
yeah. I think we do have some names and some ideas, so, but then we need to have a motion today to notify city council.
To notify city council, or is that how that worked?
Yeah.
I missed it.
Terminate.
Okay. All right.
Just wanted that if you guys did that, that we already have people to go ahead, you know, like to, if you guys have someone you want to recommend, you know, to move, I'd rather, I want to do it all together so that, you
Yeah, we'd like to have somebody in that slot as quickly as possible.
Right.
know, so as many people who can.
I spoke to Jeff and I spoke to Leslie, and they were going to get back with me with some names that they thought would be interested in doing it. So I'm planning on them probably giving me,
I
an-
have a name at my office too that I'll pitch you.
all right,
She's been to several of our meetings. And she's
Okay.
looking to get back involved.
all right. Yeah, Charlie, I spoke to her again last month with a possibility to see if she could find somebody as well. So 3 of the council members are aware that we need to have somebody else. Okay.
Couple of somebodies.
Motion.
I make a motion that we vote to remove Mr. Schwarzkopf on the grounds that he has no-showed 3 consecutive meetings without notification.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Any other new business? We don't have any old business, okay?
Not new business, just more of a general question. We have a working list on properties that we think should be in the historical, is that something that you have via email or just a working paper that you've got?
I can send you what we, a list that we did have and started to make up, and then probably we can send that and use it in our work
Okay. I'd like to get a starting point.
Yeah.
There are several buildings that do need to be designated before they,
And to see, before the meeting, I sent you all the links that Renee sent me, so that you can see the 595 pages. Of the survey,
glanced at
it
it.
has the
Oh, yeah,
details.
yeah,
The
I know about
survey,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because on there, it's really detailed as to what we have, so we can kind of compare to what's there.
By the way, the houses are listed alphabetically by street.
That brings me to one question. On the survey online, and I believe this, the one you sent me as well, that was a link to the online survey. There is a whole section that is missing its pictures. And Sarah, was that her name? Sarah said that you should probably have a hard copy at City Hall somewhere of that original application.
Yes.
If it's not at City Hall and cannot be located, they may have it in their archives, but that's our first step, is to see if the original application, it is the north side of the commercial district is missing its pictures. And what we want to know is it says, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it lists how many buildings there are within that district, and that some of them are contributing and some of them are non-contributing. And that's what we want to know, is which ones are contributing and which ones are not.
Yeah.
Correct, on this side.
You broken it down and opened it up and looked at it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was noticing at the bottom of the description, there's usually a place that says contributing or non.
It just says how many are contributing and how many are not. It doesn't say which ones are and which ones are not.
Yeah.
We'll check for it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, I have two comments. First comment is thank you to the city for the Chateau Alon. It was very informative. I truly appreciated it. It was fun. Liked it. Second thing is, and this is just a minor little picky detail, when we get our agendas and past agendas, is there any way that you can do hole punches so we can place them in our... Awesome. I figured you probably could. That's it. Thank you. I would have come up with something even harder.
The teacher in me has a hole punch, so I was doing mine.
I've got one too, but I figure most people probably don't. I'm really
Most people
uptight
don't.
about office supplies and stuff. I know.
Motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Second?
You-
All in favor?
you-
And let's learn the acronym that I was talking about. You got your pen ready? It is G as in George, H as in Henry, A as in Apple, H as in Henry, R as in Robert, G as in George,